Pumpkin night, the sky is black, and only in the west, where the sun is just recently sat down, he gives to blue. A thin strip is burning along the horizon, similar to a rumble in a grin, stained with red, such are cut out with cleaned pumpkin on the last day of October. Little Jacob opens the creaky door and gets out into the street. The evening is student, the trees are restless, the road and sidewalk are strewn with whispering fallen foliage. Under the tin cap of street lantern, electricity caught in a bubble lamp, a stain of light crawls along the leaves, yellow as wax, crimson, like a cooled knee, brown, like stains on senile skin. Little Jacob is not supposed to be on the street, but today is a festival, ordinary rules do not apply. The house from which Jacob got out stands on the outskirts. In order to take part in fun, you need to hurry to the center of the town. Jacob lets all the agility between the houses, whose windows are dark and blind, glorifies from the lantern to the lantern with a whitish silhouette. The wind throws a pile of leaves into it, Jacob swaying from the gust, but does not get down from the run. When burning warm yellowness windows begin to meet in the houses, Jacob moderates a step, looks around. The first door always makes him worry, not from embarrassment before the visit, not because the holiday has come. Jacob decides to first enter the late shop, at least you will not have to knock there. The bell tinkles. Inside is light and heated. Behind the counter there is a burdened owner in a sugar cap and apron. On the shelves, pies, rolls. Jacob seems like a vanilla smell tickles his nose. The bakery sticks forward, lies with the stomach on the counter, the thick light mustache is puffed out, pushed through the smile. Well? Do we have guests? Yes, how terrible. Treat, not to be trouble. Exhales Jacob. His own voice almost scares him. Ho ho ho. The bakery rolls up, leaning back. Hands, stubborn in the sides, make it completely similar to the sugar tower. Perhaps I choose a treat. He turns to the shelves, takes a magnificent stoba, holds out her Jacob. Jacob awkwardly substitutes a bag. The bakers look at the store in doubt, grabs the paper bag on the side, puts the roll into it, and only after that puts Jacob's prey in the bag. Jacob hastily presses his fists with a cloth clamped in them to the chest, but the bakery rummages. Wait. Another package is filled with sweets, headlong rolling from a semicircular scoop, and gets to Jacob in a bag. Thank you, Jacob whispers. Now run, the bakery permits. The bell tinkles again. On the street, the wind rushes towards. Jacob closes a roll from him with his palm, wrapped in matter, soft, warm, almost alive. Having fled across the road, Jacob at random rushes to the new door and thunders with a hammer dangling on a loop, on a metal doll. The door swings open. The opening is filled with a good-natured fat woman, correcting the hairstyle. Jacob opens his mouth, the wind blows out of his teeth. Treat. Not to be trouble. Ah, you a little monster. The fat woman is touched, applying chubby fingers to the chin, crawling to each other, like a pancake. Come on. She moves her back into the housing, giving the road to Jacob. Jacob steps through the threshold. In the room where it gets, there is a lot of yellow. Wallpaper, a cup and a saucer yellow on the table shine with sisal rims, and in the hands of fat people, jewelry made of stuffed gold. Now I will collect you guests. The fat woman smacks. It seems that she is a varnish herself. Next to a tea pair there are a plate with cookies, jam in 2 glasses of vases and a full candy. Having heroically parted with a sweet ransom, the fat woman lets Jacob out into the street. The next door is equipped with a call. Jacob cries the button. He is opened by a crowded gentleman with thin antennae, in a tailcoat, in a white vest with a tie. From somewhere inside the music plays piano. Treat, not to be trouble. Who is there? A female voice muffled by the distance is heard. Nothing, dear, it's just a monster. The gentleman responds casually, turning the folly towards the hall. Black folds of a tailcoat shine and seem tough, as if starched. Putting his fingers in a vest pocket, the master extracts the coin and throws it up so that Jacob can catch. Buy a treat to your taste, boy. The door slams. Jacob continues the campaign. The wind pushes him, rather more time remains less and less. The festival has its terms. The trees crunch with rheumatic branches, the leaves rush in the legs with a cheerful crowd, the lanterns swing, sway and in some places, hollowed tied heads with burning red eyes and mouths. Jacob knocks on all doors in a row. Dry old woman with gentle wrinkles at the eyes, interrupting her knitting briefly, brings him an apple. Her black cat is short of Jacob. A marital couple of middle-aged years sucks with sweets. The wife, for some reason, looks like a tear. The husband smokes a tube. Lonely woman in a long skirt and high boots, on a dull nose, iron glasses, hair is collected in a court. Takes a box from the violin case and gives Jacob some stuck-together mints. Jacob's bag is full. That's it, the wind sighs. The yellow windows go out one by one. It's time for Jacob to go back. He hurries back along the same road. In front of the shop he visited first, the sugar baker is hanging up his shutters. Noticing Jacob, the baker waves his hand affably. Jacob turns into an alley, and the baker returns home, locks the door with a padlock and a latch, and looks thoughtfully at the shelf where, among the rows of baked goods, a single notch is visible. Here lay the donated loaf. The baker pulls the steel damper. In the mouth of the stove that opened in the wall before him, a flame hums. The baker sighs and begins to throw the buns into the fire. The tongues curl, licking the handouts. The papier-mâché turns black, the painted wax melts, the sweets explode in Berthollet swarms. Heat gushes from his mouth, the baker's face bursts like an overdone pie, the shiny skin turns green in the gap. The paw fumbles for the switch, the light in the shop goes out. In the reflections of the flames, the impulsively moving figure continues to dismantle the scenery. The celebration is ending. Jacob, in a hurry, does not see this. Nor does he see how the fat woman in the yellow room gets rid of her wig, brings her plump fingers to the top of her head and begins to pull off her appearance, like the skin of a sausage. A naked pale head with faded eyes appears, swollen even more. This resembles the release of a caterpillar, who knows why decided to leave the cocoon. On his raw face are 3 warts. The one on his nose moves its hairs, breaks away from the skin. A spider with a pustular body carefully moves to his protruding lip and freezes there. The lamp goes out. In the house nearby, a polished gentleman lies down on the floor, bristling his chitinous coattails, crawls noisily, skirting the furniture. The piano, having lost its tune, repeats in the darkness over and over a fragment of the same musical phrase. Jacob is in a hurry. He plucks someone's pumpkin on the go. A candle stub still glows inside. The street lamps fade, dissolve in the darkness. The old woman leaves her knitting, sticks a knitting needle into the cat. With stingy steps she approaches the basement door, goes down the steps, disappears. Soon someone's short, heart-rending scream is heard from below, chokes, breaks off. Her neighbors, a middle-aged married couple, are sitting without light, huddled in different corners of the house. Not seeing each other, they simultaneously get up and begin to make their way towards each other. The husband has a razor blade in his hand, the wife has a poker in her fist. An extinguished pipe lies in the corner. Somewhere nearby, a woman with a sad nose is making a loop from a thin violin string. The yellow windows go out. When Jacob reaches the outskirts, the town is black as the night itself. The door creaks. Throwing aside the now unnecessary pumpkin, Jacob, with a candle stub in one hand and a sack in the other, gets up and quietly enters the small room. He sits down, hesitates, delaying the pleasure, but there is no time to linger any longer. Jacob unties the bag and begins to examine his treasures. The colorful candy wrappers scratch against each other like disturbed insects. Chocolate, caramel, lollipops, nougat enchant, beckon, tempt. Jacob knows that he can take only one candy. He chooses for a long time, shifting, shuffling the sweets. Finally, he stops at a large lollipop ball, in whose matte thickness stars are visible, somehow fused there. Jacob peels the ball from the transparent, crisp wrapper and carefully puts it in his mouth. With the candy in his cheek, the happy Jacob leaves the room and goes down the stairs. It is time for him to go to bed. On the last step, the candle flame goes out, choking in the melted wax, but Jacob no longer needs the light. In the corner of the basement, Jacob climbs into his dusty box and settles in the usual cramped space of the old boards. He closes his eyes. On his lips, invisible to anyone here except the spiders that will soon braid his face with loose felt, lies a weak smile. Jacob will be able to rise again only in a year, on November Eve, but the sweet candy resting in his small dry mouth will remind him all this time of the last holiday.